They came from the stars like gods. Their armor was black steel. Their eyes glowed like fire. And their name brought fear to every world they touched. Revante's shock cores. The Empire's elite soldiers, no planet had ever stopped them. Not once. They were trained from birth to fight, kill, and win. Planets surrendered before the battle even began. But Earth was different. It started like any other mission. The Empire's scout ships circled the blue planet. They scanned cities, towers, and bases. They saw weapons, but old ones. Nothing dangerous. No space defenses. No fleets in orbit. The Dravante laughed. Primitive. Weak. They still use bullets. One soldier said. The order came fast. Deploy. 10 ships broke through Earth's atmosphere like falling meteors. They didn't hide. They wanted to be seen. It was part of their fear tactic. They expected sirens, panic, surrender. But what they got was silence. The cities below were empty. No people. No soldiers. Commander Vartak of the Dravante narrowed his eyes. Where are the humans? He asked. His scanners showed heat signatures, small ones, moving underground. But the streets were dead. Still, they landed. 10,000 elite troops stepped out onto the streets of an old city called New Boston. The air was still. The wind whispered between the ruins. Suddenly, soft click. Then another. Commander Vartak stopped walking. He looked down. Small device blinked red under his boot. Boom! The street exploded beneath him. 5 other soldiers nearby were thrown into the air like toys. Screams echoed. Dust and fire rose high into the sky. What was that? Shouted a Dravante sergeant. Traps, said another. This whole place is boom, boom, boom. More explosions followed. Whole buildings fell. Drones flew out from underground hatches and fired energy pulses. They didn't aim for kills. They aimed for chaos. The elite warriors strained for open battle were trapped in a city that fought like a ghost. They knew we were coming, whispered a wounded soldier. This was never a city. It was a trap. Commander Vartak crawled out from the rubble. His armor was cracked. Blood dripped from his mouth. He looked up at the sky. No human army, no resistance lines, just an enemy that refused to fight by. The Empire's rules, a few hours earlier, is far underground, in a hidden war room beneath New Boston. General Alara Ray watched the Empire's landing on a hologram. They think we'll play fair, she said. They think we'll run. Behind her, human soldiers and AI-controlled defense systems waited. She raised her hand. Start the welcome. Dozens of operators pressed controls. Old satellite feeds were reactivated. Drones released. Buildings collapsed by command. This wasn't a battlefield. It was a machine built for one purpose: to kill the elite. Back on the surface, the Dravante regrouped. Out of 10,000, only 8,000 remained. We take the center tower, Vartak shouted. We find their leaders. They pushed forward. Their armor deflected blasts. They shot drones from the sky. They reached the center of the city, found nothing. Just a message on a broken screen. Still think we use bullets? The screen blinked. Then the building exploded. The shockwave flattened the next block. Panic started to grow in the elite force. They weren't used to this. They had always been stronger, faster, but now, Earth was making them feel small. Suddenly their radios went silent. No commands, no updates. Then, a voice. It didn't shout. It didn't scream. It just said, "You trained for war. We trained to survive." One of the Dravante soldiers, young and proud, started shaking. "Why aren't they fighting us face to face?" he asked. Another answered, "Because they don't." Need 2. A new drone flew in. It didn't fire. Projected a video. Footage from Earth's past. Cities burning. Children running. Alien ships bombing homes. Screams. Fire. Blood. The final clip showed an alien leader saying, "Earth will be taken in one day." And now, the Dravante stood in the ruins of their own failure. By nightfall, half the elite force was gone. Some had died in traps. Some were picked off by drones. Some had simply disappeared into buildings. It never came out. Commander Vartak looked at the stars. "This planet is cursed," he said. "No," a soldier replied. "It's angry." They tried to contact the Empire fleet for extraction. No response. The orbit was dark and far above Earth. Human-made satellites with stolen alien tech aimed their beams back at the planet. Earth wasn't just fighting back, it was hunting. Final scene, end of part 1, deep in the ruins. One Dravante survivor found a strange symbol on a wall. It was the Earth's flag burned into steel. Under it, human message. "You brought war to our home. Now it lives here." The screen goes black. A cold voice speaks. "Let's see how well the elites survive." Without their empire, the Empire waited. For hours, then days. No messages. No updates. No signals from Earth. 10,000 of their finest soldiers had landed on the blue planet, and then vanished. Inside the Imperial War Chamber, High Lord Severin paced in front of the galaxy's most powerful leaders. Holograms flickered beside him, maps, troop counts, attack plans. All useless now. "We trained them to win," he growled. "So where are they?" An officer stepped forward, face pale. "We sent probes, my lord. They were destroyed." "By what?" The officer hesitated. "We don't know. Some kind of ancient defense system, but enhanced. We lost contact within minutes." The room went silent. One of the admirals leaned in. "You're saying Earth is advanced? They were supposed to be primitive?" Another whispered. "Their cities looked like ruins. Ruins can still hide monsters," someone said. Meanwhile, far away, on a shattered battlefield once called New Boston, nothing moved. Smoke floated through the streets. Steel bones of broken buildings stuck out of the ground like spears. But under the rubble, they were watching. Drones shaped like crows flew silently over the city. They carried human eyes, linked to command bunkers deep below. General Alara Ray stood in the war room, arms crossed. A screen showed the Dravante commander Vartak, limping through the ruins with barely 3,000 soldiers left. His face was cracked, his armor scorched. "They still don't understand," Alara said softly. "This isn't war for us. This is home." She turned to the AI beside her. "Send the signal. Make the Empire listen." Back on the Empire's homeworld, suddenly, every communication channel flickered. Even secure military lines were breached. And then, a voice. A calm human voice. "This is Earth. You sent your best to take our world. We buried them in it." The war chamber froze. The voice continued. "You thought we'd beg. You thought we'd break. But you only taught us one thing. Silence is deadlier than screams." Then the signal cut. No trace of the source. No chance to trace it back. Just a message. And the echo of fear? High Lord Severin slammed his fist on the table. "How did they get through our encryption?" "They used our own code," someone whispered. "They've been listening." Later that night, an old cargo ship entered. Empire space? Its engines were weak. It looked abandoned. Empire patrol ships scanned it, no life signs. They brought it aboard inside. They found one thing, a Dravante helmet cracked, burnt, covered in human blood. Next to it, a small data drive. They played it. A shaky video began, Ronta's soldiers screaming, running through fire. Explosions everywhere. Drones circling. Voices yelling in English. "Trap them in Sector 6. Close the south tunnel. Cut them off. No mercy." They burned our cities. And then, one final clip. A Dravante soldier kneeling, begging. For help. They're not humans. Not anymore. They're shadows with fire in their hands. Please, don't send anyone else. Then the feed went dark. The Empire Council gathered again this time, quieter. "Earth has become a graveyard," one general said. "They destroyed our signal. They hijacked our data. They killed our elite," said another. High Lord Severin's voice was cold. "We don't fear one planet. We have fleets." A senator responded. So did the Dravante. Meanwhile, back on Earth, General Alara sat alone in the command bunker. The room was dark. Quiet. Only the hum of machines filled the air. She looked at the last. Message sent from the Empire before the invasion a threat. Surrender, Earth, or be erased. At the screen filled with enemy troop numbers, 0 active. She didn't smile. She didn't cheer. Instead, she whispered, "We warned them." Above her, in low orbit, Earth's stolen satellites watched Empire space, not just to defend, but to see where to strike next. Final scene, end of part 2. Back in the Empire's border sector, something unexpected happened. A listening post picked up a strange signal short. Looping, encrypted, ancient format. They decoded it. It was human music, an old war song playing over and over. Then, just as the song ended, another human voice came through. Not angry, not loud, just clear. Round 2 is coming. The screen goes black, a soft alarm begins to sound, and for the first time in centuries, the Empire feels fear. The Empire had never known fear until now. The Dravanta 10,000 of their strongest were gone. Earth sent no prisoners, no bodies, just silence, one broken helmet. But the Empire would not be insulted. Within hours, a fleet of 30 warships, 5 carriers, and 2 dreadnoughts was sent toward Earth. The 79th Imperial Reinforcement Armada. Each ship carried weapons powerful enough to melt moons. Each commander believed this would be quick. Level the planet, one admiral said. Let the ashes remind the galaxy what happens when primitives rise. High above Earth, Armada. Arrived in orbit, Earth looked peaceful. Blue oceans, green land, white clouds, no space fleets. No visible shields. The Empire laughed. Prepare orbital strike, said Admiral Corvex. Target every major city. Burn them to the crust. Ships aligned, cannons charged. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. But at 7, the sky changed. A strange ripple passed through space. Unseen satellites blinked to life. Not Empire tech, not alien tech. Human tech. Hidden, silent, old, but heavily upgraded. Within seconds, power across the fleet dropped. Lights flickered. Weapons shut down. "What's happening?" the admiral shouted. "EMP burst," screamed an officer. "Multiple sources. They're disabling our systems." "How?" "They're inside our networks. They've been watching us." Then came the second wave. Not ships, not missiles, but Earth itself. From the oceans, massive submarines rose. Larger than anything the Empire had seen, human-made war vessels, black and silent, covered in strange markings. Their names etched into steel: Glasgow, Hell's Gate, Judgment. Then came the Skyborne, jet-black spacecraft, powered by stolen and improved alien drives, flying without sound. "Are those Earth ships?" someone asked. The admiral stared at the screen. There. Monsters. The battle began. Earth didn't wait. Dozens of pulse blasts from Earth's hidden satellites cut through the Empire's formation. One Empire destroyer exploded instantly, then another. The rest tried to retreat, but the stars themselves seemed to close in. Human ships moved in fast, like ghosts, like predators. On board the carrier Thorax Claw, panic had begun. "We've lost engine control. They're jamming our comms. Our fighters can't launch. The bays are locked." Suddenly, a human drone slammed into the hull. Not with explosives. With data, it hacked the ship's core, turned its weapons inward, fired on its own fleet. The crew screamed. Outside, 2 Earth ships surrounded it, then burned it to nothing. Back on Earth, General Alara watched from the command center. "Report," she asked. 17 ships disabled, 10 destroyed, the rest trying to flee. Alara nodded once. No survivors. Above Admiral Corvex's ship, the Reaper's light tried to escape. He shouted into the radio, "This is Admiral Corvex of the Empire. We surrender. Do not fire." Signal came back. It was a video, a human child, crying, running through fire, holding a flag. Then the screen cut to black. One word followed. "No." A moment later, the Reaper's light exploded. The galaxy watched. In silence, all feeds from the Empire's warships had been hijacked. Broadcasts leaked to neutral systems. Civilizations who had once feared the Empire now saw something else. Small planet turning giants into ash. In the Council of 9 rulers of many star systems, there was chaos. Weapons. They stole our tech and made it better.
Ow.
Why didn't we stop them earlier? But one voice cut through the noise. A calm alien diplomat who had once visited Earth decades ago. They were peaceful, he said, till we gave them a reason not to be. Back on Earth, night fell. The battle was over. Not one Empire ship remained. Wreckage burned in orbit, and on the ground, in a quiet control room, a young human technician looked at the screens and whispered, "We turned the sky into a grave." Final scene, end of part 3, far beyond Earth. Single escape pod drifted in space. Inside, one wounded Empire soldier gasped for air, his hands shaking. His distress signal was weak, but it reached someone. A distant Empire outpost pulled him. Aboard, the commander asked only one question. "What did you see?" The soldier looked up, eyes wide, voice broken. They were waiting, the humans. They planned all of this, and he passed out. The screen fades to black. A message appears. Earth is no longer the hunted. They believed Earth was weak, that it had fallen behind. Humans had lost their spirit, but they were wrong. For years, Earth had been silent. The Empire thought silence meant fear. In truth, Earth had been listening and waiting. Decades ago, when the Empire first made contact, Earth sent diplomats. Peace offers, trade deals, warnings. The Empire responded with weapons. They burned cities. They took Earth's satellites. They killed millions in the first wave. Then, they left believing Earth would die on its own. But Earth didn't die. It changed, hidden. Deep in the mountains of Greenland, in a frozen bunker called the Vault. The world's best scientists, soldiers, and strategists had gathered. They brought what little alien tech remained after the first attack broke in pieces. Half-working cores, and encrypted drives, and then they started building. The Vault became Earth's darkest secret. There. They learned to copy alien tech and make it stronger. They built new energy systems. Faster computers, stealth drives, and weapons even the Empire hadn't imagined. General Elara Ray stood inside the Vault now, hands behind her back. She looked at the row of sleeping machines, humanoid warbots shaped like giants, armed with plasma cores and AI minds trained in hundreds of simulations. Her second-in-command, Captain Juno, entered. "The fleet's gone. Nothing remains in orbit. Debris is falling into the sea." Elara nodded. "And the message?" Juno smiled. "Broadcast across 6 sectors. The whole galaxy saw what we did." Elara turned toward the screen, showing an old video news footage. From Earth's invasion, cities in flames. Children crying. Skies burning. The last image was a headline. "Earth declares, we will never be powerless again." Far across the stars, in the Empire's central archive, a curious AI officer searched old reports. It found something strange. Decades ago, an Earth ship had sent a distress signal near the border of the Crass Rift. A patrol was sent to investigate, but the report was sealed. Now unlocked, the video showed a human crew dead in space. But no damage. No cause. Just a warning written on the inside wall of the ship. They're watching. Earth is preparing. The AI forwarded the file to High Lord Severin. He didn't respond. He stared at the message for a long time, then said, "They warned us." And we laughed. Meanwhile, in Earth's orbit, recovery drones were gathering Empire debris, not to destroy, to study. Inside every fallen ship was new information. Weapons. Engines. Maps. Earth didn't just want survival now. They wanted reach. General. Elara walked past a row of black coffins. Human soldiers. Frozen in deep stasis. Each one trained not in war, but in vengeance. These weren't normal troops. These were survivors of the first invasion. Soldiers who had trained in silence with one goal. To take the fight to the stars. She stopped in front of one pod. Inside, A man with gray hair and scars on his face floated silently. Name tag, Commander Holt. Status, awaiting REACTIVATIO. Juno asked quietly, is it time? Lara didn't answer yet. She looked up at the large digital screen showing the empires. Star maps. We're not just defending Earth anymore, she said. We're hunting the ones who sent the fire. At the edge of Earth's system, near an asteroid belt, something large came to life. A deep space gate built from stolen alien tech and fused with human machinery. It lit up with blue light and opened a swirling tunnel in space. Earth had built its own wormhole, not to run, but to invade. In the final minutes of Part 4, the Empire sends a message. It's a formal signal, a request for peace talks. They beg for communication. They offer a ceasefire. Earth receives the signal, but doesn't reply. Instead, it sends back a data file. No words, just an image. A list of all the Empire worlds that attacked Earth decades ago. One by one. Each name fades out, as if crossed off, as if already targeted. The file ends with coordinates. Coordinates deep inside Empire territory, where Earth is heading next. Final. Scene end of Part 4, in the vault's hangar. Deep underground, the lights dim. One giant machine activates. Its head lifts. Eyes glow. Red. A human AI speaks softly inside it. Target locked. Above ground, the stars shift. The gate opens. Earth isn't broken. Earth has awakened. The Empire believed they still had control. They had lost ships. They had lost soldiers. But they still had power. They had time. Their scientists worked quickly, placing deep space jammers at the edge of Earth's solar system. No ships could leave. No messages could pass through. Trade routes were cut. Reinforcements blocked. It was a full lockdown. Earth, they thought, was trapped. But Earth was done playing their game in the Arctic wastelands. Far from satellites and eyes, Project Shattergate was ready. It wasn't a spaceship. It wasn't a bomb. It was something far more dangerous. A gate built to rip through space itself. Inside the Shattergate control dome, engineers stood still as the countdown began. The machine towered over them, humming with stolen energy. It used broken Empire tech, pieces of dark matter engines, and something no alien race expected: human imagination. General Alara Ray stood at the main console. Her face was calm. Beside her, Commander Holt, now awake from deep stasis, watched. The screen showing live footage of the Empire's jamming fleet. Still think we can't break out? She asked. He grinned. They closed the door. We're building a new wall right through it. At the edge of the system, Empire ships floated, silently watching Earth's orbit, waiting. One admiral spoke calmly into his comms. They'll run out of food, fuel, air. It's just a matter of time. But then, something strange happened. The sun behind Earth pulsed. Just for a second. Then, space near Earth's moon cracked, like glass breaking in the dark. On every ship, alarms began to blare. Distortion field detected. Space is folding. It's tearing. Then they saw it. A massive glowing ring appeared near Earth, floating, spinning, howling. It was the Shattergate, and from it, ships began to rise, sleek, black, fast. More advanced than any Earth vessel. They weren't running, they were launching through space, skipping over the blockade, bypassing jammers, bending reality, a whole fleet, heading straight into the Empire's heart. Admiral Kryn, leader of the jamming blockade, screamed into his comms, shut it down, fire on the gate. But before the order could be completed, Earth's orbital cannons activated. Massive railguns fired from the dark side of the moon silently, invisibly. The first jamming ship split in half. The second vanished in a cloud of red fire. By the time the Empire fleet turned to respond, it was already too late inside the Shattergate. Commander Holt's ship Judgment passed through the tunnel. On board, soldiers waited quietly, not just for orders, but for revenge. The tunnel was cold. Time bent strangely inside it. Some said, You could see echoes of the past in the corners of the gate, and some soldiers did. They saw flashes of earth burning, screams, children, bombs falling. The memory didn't break them. It made them sharper, colder, and when the tunnel opened on the other side, they were ready. They exited inside Empire territory, right above a key supply world. Dr. EXIL-4 Empire sensors screamed as unknown ships appeared without warning. Within minutes, orbital defenses were taken down. Earth didn't land troops. They bombed. Military zones from orbit, fast, clean, surgical. They weren't here to conquer. They were here to send a message in the Empire Council's war room.
At the news.
Hit like thunder. How did they pass our blockades? They didn't pass, said one analyst, shaking. They cut around them. They built a door in the sky. A hologram showed Earth's fleet moving fast through inner sectors. Hit, vanish, hit, vanish again, like wolves. Not trying to hold territory, just destroy it. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Shattergate pulsed stronger. It wasn't closing, it was growing, new.
Us.
Designs allowed it to shift destinations. Earth could now jump anywhere, anytime. General Alara looked at the star map. Each red dot showed an Empire world that once aided in Earth's first invasion. Next to her, screen listed every one of those planets, each one scheduled for strike. No more warnings, she said. No more messages. Final scene, end of Part 5. In deep space, near the edge of Empire command territory. The listening post picked up something strange. A signal. Not in words, but a pattern. Boom, pause, boom, dash, boom, Morse. Code, ancient Earth language. One Empire officer managed to translate it. We are coming. Then the post's lights went out, and outside the window, a single human drone floated, watching, waiting, then it disappeared. The Empire was burning, not all at once, but world by world, base by base, like falling dominoes. Earth didn't send ambassadors, they didn't send peace offers, they sent ships black, silent, and fast. Every attack was precise. No cities destroyed, no civilians harmed, but every military target gone. It was war, but colder, smarter, and worse. Said nothing. No threats, no speeches, just strikes. Then silence. In the Empire's central capital Kavros, prime panic had begun to rise. Inside the golden halls of the Imperial Council, leaders shouted at each other. This is madness. They're ghosts. We don't know when or where they'll hit. We should have destroyed them when we had the chance. Then one voice spoke above the rest. High Lord Severin, wrinkled, scarred, but still feared. They are not ghosts, he said. They are fire. Soon after, a message was sent. A formal peace offer. Empire diplomats broadcasted across the stars. To the leadership of Earth, we regret the actions. Of our fleets, we seek peace. Let us talk. They waited 1 day. Nothing. 2 days. Silence. 3 days. And then a reply, but it was not what they expected. A single Earth. The drone entered neutral space. No weapons, no escorts. It carried a memory drive. Inside, a video, an old recording. From Earth's first invasion, a child burned, holding a photo, crying. The voice of an Empire general played over it. Crush them. Take the resources. Leave nothing. Then came new footage. Human soldiers walking through destroyed cities, finding their own people buried under rubble. And at the end, black screen, white letters. You had your chance to talk. You chose fire. Now so do we. In Earth's command, Bunker General Alara stood in front of her war table. Beside her, Commander Holt marked the next 3 targets. Navark Station, Thaddeus, and Vorex Depot. Each one a major supply route. Each one important to the Empire's survival, Captain Juno asked. Still no reply to the peace talk? Alara shook her head. We're done with words. Far from Earth, in a mining colony called Karsus, The Empire had gathered over 12,000 troops. It was a last stand, a message to Earth. "We'll stop them here," the base commander said. But Earth never landed. They didn't even enter the atmosphere. Instead, they poisoned the sky. They dropped EMP clouds, jammed all tech, shut down communications, then released micro-drones the size of insects. Tiny machines flew into vents, engines, and weapons. When the Empire tried to fire, nothing worked. Then Earth sent one message to the colony: "Now you know how it feels." And then they left. Didn't kill, didn't bomb. Just left the base cold, dark, and powerless. The message was clear. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about justice. Back in the Empire capital, High Lord Severin watched it all unfold. He slammed his hand on the table. "We gave them a galaxy, and they give us silence." A younger officer replied carefully, "You gave them pain. They're returning it piece by piece." On a hidden Earth warship named the Revenant, a young pilot named Lee checked his mission file. It showed coordinates for a small Empire prison world XERON-3. He frowned. "This isn't a military site," he said. The AI on board responded. It held human prisoners, survivors from the first invasion. Lee's face turned hard. He didn't speak again for the rest of the flight. When he landed, he found the prison empty. No guards, just bodies. And one message scratched into a cell wall. They said Earth forgot us. I guess they were wrong. Activated a beacon. Minutes later, the Revenant fired one blast. Xeron-3 no longer existed. Final scene, end of part 6. A week later. The Empire sent one last message. "We surrender. Please, just speak to us." Back on Earth, in a quiet field, once destroyed by alien bombs, Elara Ray stood alone. She held a datapad. It showed the message. She pressed one button, delete, and walked away. Because for the first time in history, Earth didn't want peace. They wanted the galaxy to understand. Some wounds do not heal. For 1,000 years, the Empire ruled the stars. Their core worlds, rich, powerful, untouchable, had never seen war, had never heard enemy footsteps, never feared fire falling from the sky, until Earth came and made sure they did. In orbit above, Calvin Prime, the jewel of the Empire, alarms began to ring. Thousands of civilian ships tried to flee. Military cruisers scrambled to launch, but the sky was already broken. From the black of space, Earth's fleet arrived, without warning, without sound. Their ships shimmered with cloaking fields. Their weapons were ready. On board the command ship, Judgment Commander Holt stared at the screen. "Do not target civilians," he said. "We're not them," a junior officer asked. "So what's the plan?" Holt answered coldly. "We hit what they fear most, their control." On the ground, in the golden towers of Calvin Prime, the people watched in silence. For the first time in history, enemy ships were above them. They had always believed the Empire was safe. Now the sky said otherwise. Inside the Imperial Senate Hall, High Lord Severin stood with trembling hands. He looked out the window as Earth's fleet positioned above the capital. "How did it come to this?" he whispered. A nearby aide spoke carefully. "They warned us." "We thought silence meant weakness." "It didn't," Severin muttered. "It meant planning." Earth didn't attack blindly. Instead, they shut down Calvin Prime's orbital stations. Using signal spikes, satellites died. Missiles refused to launch. AI cores shorted out. The planet was blinded, and then Earth began their strike, but not with bombs. With truth, broadcasts appeared on every screen, messages hacked into news networks, billboards, tablets, even children's toys. Footage played of Earth's burning cities from 40 years ago. Footage of Empire generals laughing. Then came new clips. Empire worlds falling. Bases emptied. Warships shattered. Generals running. And over all of it, simple human voice. "You thought distance would protect you? Thought we would break? We didn't. We evolved." In panic, The Empire's last war council met in secret under Calvin. "Prime, we must counterattack," shouted one admiral. "With what fleet?" Another snapped. "They've destroyed everything. We offer surrender again." "No surrender means nothing now. They don't want peace." Then, a knock at the door, all turned. A drone floated in black, silent. An Earth dash made it drop a small projector onto the table. A hologram appeared. General Alara Ray. She looked at them calmly and spoke. "This is not the end of your empire, but it is the end of your rule. You will never own another world, never enslave another race, will never burn another child's home. We will leave you something worse than death, irrelevance." Then the hologram faded, and in the sky above Calvin Prime, Earth's fleet fired, not at cities, not at civilians, but at monuments. Statues of emperors crumbled, palaces turned to dust, military command centers vaporized, history rewritten in fire in the streets. Citizens didn't scream, they watched, and slowly began to understand. The monsters the Empire told them to fear were not Earth. The monsters had always worn their own flag in orbit. As Earth's ships turned away, Commander Holt said just 4 words. "Next target." Move forward. There was no celebration, no cheering, just silence, and the hum of engines preparing for the next strike. Far away, on a small border world, a child watched the event on a screen. She looked up at her father, confused. "Papa R. The humans coming here too." The man knelt beside her. "It's no sweet one. Not if we stop acting like the Empire." The child stared back at the screen. She didn't see devils. She saw fire. She saw justice. And maybe hope. Final scene, end of part 7, in a quiet office. Deep under Earth's surface, General Alara Ray opened a final folder. One last name remained on the list. High Lord Severin. She stared at it. Her finger hovered above a red button, but then she closed the folder. "Let him live," she said. "Let him wake up every day knowing the stars no longer fear him but ignore him." A pause. Then she added, "Fear is a lesson. And now, the Empire finally understands." The war was over, but nothing felt peaceful. Across the galaxy, Empire. Flags were pulled down. Statues of old rulers were broken. Slave camps were empty. The silence left behind was heavy. People didn't cheer. They stared at the stars, because even though Earth had won, Earth didn't celebrate, it simply turned, walked away. In a deep space command ship, Commander Holt stood alone. Earth's fleet was silent now. No more battles, no more alerts. One officer finally asked him, "Sir, we destroyed their control, their fleets, their pride. Why didn't we take more?" Holt didn't turn. He just said, "Because we came to stop monsters, not become them." The room stayed quiet because they all understood what he meant. On Calvin Prime, once the shining capital of the Empire, High Lord Severin sat in a broken hall. No guards, no speeches, no power, just memory. He looked up at a burned ceiling and whispered, "They didn't kill me." "Why?" a small voice answered. A young boy, no older than 12, stood at the edge of the ruined chamber. "They didn't need to," the boy said. "You're already nothing." Then he turned and walked away. In the outer colonies, where the Empire's rule had once been strongest, something new began. No orders came from the center. No fear ships arrived. Instead, humans left behind something. No one expected books, tools, power generators, and a simple message: we did not come to rule you. We came to remind you freedom costs something. Now it's yours. What will you do with it? One system, a group of alien leaders met under an old dome. They had once served the Empire. Now they were free. "What do we call this new era?" one asked. An old woman smiled and replied, "The era after fear." Another said, "No, the era Earth gave us." Back on Earth, cities were being rebuilt. Forests grew again where battles had burned. Oceans healed, and in the skies above, the Black Fleet returned home. No songs played, no parades, just people watching silently as the ships passed overhead like shadows of gods returning from war. General Alara Ray stood in front of the world. Council. They offered her medals, honors, a seat in history. She refused. I don't want statues, she said. I want memory. Of what? They asked. She answered. Of the day humanity remembered what we fight for. Not power, not revenge. But to make sure no one else has to crawl through fire like we did. Somewhere in deep space, a message was found on an old Empire signal relay. It played once every hour. A human voice, clear and steady, spoke. This is not a threat. This is a reminder. We are not kings. We are not saviors. We are Earth, and we do not forget. Years passed then, decades, and yet across the galaxy, whenever tyrants rose, whenever someone whispered about taking control, they paused, they remembered, because the stars still held the echo of Earth's war cry, and every species knew one truth. Earth might be quiet now, but if darkness rises again, so will they. Final scene, in a quiet classroom on a distant world. A teacher spoke to her students. She pointed to a glowing map of the galaxy. And this, she said, is where the humans came from. This tiny blue planet. One student raised her hand. Why did they leave after winning? The teacher smiled. Because they didn't fight for control. They fought so we could live without fear. Another student asked, will they ever? Come back. The teacher paused, then said gently, only if we forget what they taught us. The end.